Yo, what is up? What's going on, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to, there we go, Song Stop. There we go. Thank y'all for tuning in to another DLE Fitness live stream show, man. Today is Tuesday, August 4th. Hopefully you paid your rent. 2026. Let's go. Yes, sir. Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully everybody having a good day at work, had a good day at work, or is enjoying their day at work. Hopefully nobody pissed you off. And if they made you mad and had you upset and ready to do something stupid and have you at a low frequency state and having a bad day, let Mr. Child break it down to you.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
As long as you didn't die and you're still alive and you're able to make something happen and get up and get out and get something, do something positive with your life, man. Just stay focused and be grateful and be blessed and just keep focusing, keep getting to it, keep grinding and do the inner work that you got to do. Fast, pray, meditate, and stay consistent in your word and read and all that good stuff. And in the meantime, keep focusing, keep grinding and mind your business and let's go. Yes. I need some water. Forgot to grab my water. We are simultaneously streaming on multiple platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Facebook. Yes, we are on all those. If you message me on Facebook, I probably won't see it for some odd reason because Facebook is the hardest one for me to kind of get pulled over or whatever. But if you're on YouTube, do me a favor. When you see the thumbs up that's going to pop up on your screen that you see right there, greatly appreciated. Get the likes up, hit the like button, and all that goodness is greatly appreciated so we can get this algorithm out and get this message out. And make sure I got everything up on my screen correctly. Cause yeah, let's see. Do we got everything? Okay, there we go. There's that. There's that. Wait, there's that. All right, cool. Yes, sir. Want to contribute to today's show? Cash App and the Venmo is on the screen right there. If you can't see it, Cash App right there. Daniel2088 Venmo. Danny-Daniel-00. With that being said, we are about to jump into today's show. Sorry, my eyes is not focused on the screen. I'm trying to get all this other stuff taken care of first before we proceed to give you what you need. Yes, indeed. All right, we're there. We're good. We should be straight at this point. We're going to go ahead and talk about surviving what I like to call Dr. Fauci. I know. Calm down. I know it sucks, but we got to go. I know. Chill. But we're going to go over it. We got to sit down and talk about this. Hey. Chill. Calm, y'all. Taking it too far. But we got to go ahead and talk about this surviving Dr. Fauci. I want to go ahead and give my little twist and my little understanding of it because I'm always going to look at it from a different perspective. By most people are going to give you some of it and they're just going to give you the whole I told you so types of rhetoric, which, I mean, it's true. I did tell you so. I mean, but I wasn't streaming during this time. What is it, the 2020 time? I wasn't streaming during then, but I was one of the ones who didn't get the jibby jab. I was one of the ones who didn't get the pokey poke because I was like, you're telling me, and correct me if I'm wrong. So there's a cure for something and you're going to give it away for free. But if I have a headache, I can't get a free bottle of aspirin. But the jibby jab is free. However, if my stomach hurt, I can't get a free bottle of Pepto-Bismol. That should have told you something was up to begin with. But you know, fear, media, how they say telling a lie over and over and over again and people will believe it. And a bunch of other things. I'm not saying that 100% it was, falsified or all of it was wrong. It had maybe a little bit of truth to it, but not after these Fauci files then came out. Now that this Fauci then came out, everybody like, oh snap. Bro done pled the fifth so much I can't even count no more. So with that being said, we finna hop right on into this topic and go over it because we need to understand what surviving Fauci really means. And I got to give you my twist on it, my understanding on it, and the way I see it. Everybody got different ways of seeing it. And we're going to show you my 2 cents. But one thing I will say before we start is that I think moving into the future, with the way things are going, for the men, which I think this is going to be a thing. For the men, maybe the women, but more so the men. It's going to be more for the men. Women, y'all get to do what the hell y'all want to do. Y'all get to run around and make all kind of mistakes and, you know, live a very low frequency life and enjoy the pleasures and all this stuff and still never get held accountable for your actions to a degree. For the men, though, for the men, I'm going to say this. I think this is going to hold truth. If you have unvaccinated, where's my thing at? Let me hold on before we even go this far. I have to find my sound. There it is. If you have, for the men, if you have, I think in the future, unvaccinated semen, if your sperm, if you didn't get the vaccination, and you are going to probably be one of the few out there with unvaccinated semen. I want you to stand up, poke your chest out, or hold your head high and take this victory lap. And look yourself in the mirror every day and say, I am King Ding-a-ling. That's right. And all the ladies are going to be like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Tables of how the turns have tabled. That's right. How the turns have tabled. This unvaccinated dang-a-lang semen right here that you just can't get anywhere now. Can't get it anywhere. Just you just can't come across this. You know what I mean? This is one of a kind right here. You know what I'm saying? This right here. This shit right here. That unvaccinated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Walk around here like you thought your JJ had power. Well, how the turns have tabled. You don't come across too many with this. Now you can probably find a person with money before you find somebody with some unvaccinated Johnson. You know what I'm saying? With some unvaccinated seed pulsing through his legs and just life source radiating through his ball sack. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna find too many of those that got that now. So now the turns have tabled, and yeah, boy, shout out to all the men that did not and is walking around with this high dollar. I ain't gonna say high dollar, highly valuable, highly necessary, carrying the seed of Adam all the way to the end, that's still pulsating through their legs. They still carrying the seed of Adam through their legs. Unvaccinated sperm. Let's go. Anyway, got that out the way. Let's go ahead and get into surviving Fauci. It's almost like an R. Kelly story at this point, right? Surviving Fauci is like surviving R. Kelly, because oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me get this off the screen. Let me see what we got here. All right, let's get this over here. Get that over there. All right, we're good. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this going, man. Surviving Fauci, bro, because Fauci then came with that nonsense, bro. So let's go ahead and just flop this up on the screen. We're going to start with this first, because, I mean, this is the biggest headline. I know it's been a little bit of time, but, you know, people got to go out there and people just want to just jump in and throw in content and just be the first one to say about Fauci. But, you know, there's other people who do researches and have their own viewpoints. They put their own spin and understanding on the topic. I'm one of the few that will do that, because I want you to see it from my perspective, how I see things, because, you know, not everybody thinks the same. A lot of people are just running around here trying to make a quick buck, and I get it. It makes perfect sense. It's hard times. All right, so here we go. Start out with this. Your boy Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times in Senator Ron Paul's latest COVID hearing. He wasn't trying to, and he was already pardoned too, if I'm not mistaken. I think under Biden, or Biden, I should say, under Biden, he was already pardoned or whatever, or he had some kind of immunity or whatever you want to say the case was. But he was like, nope, even with that, I'm still invoking the Fifth Amendment all day long on you fools. And I mean, every time he invoked the Fifth Amendment, I mean, low key, every time he heard the Fifth Amendment, this is really what he was saying to y'all.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
That's really what he was saying. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, bro was like, every time they questioned him, he was like, yeah, under my constitutionally protected rights, I'm gonna go ahead and invoke the Fifth Amendment upon you busters. I don't care about you peons. I done did what I had to do. Now it's this right here. Damage already been done. Ain't nothing you can do. I ain't finna admit it. I mean, you know it's true, but you ain't. I didn't say it. So I mean, it's still a conspiracy theory. But you know, conspiracy theories now became facts, especially since the LIVESTREAM files came out. But I digress. So as we know, Buddy done went in, hit him with that Fifth Amendment more times than I can count. Let's go ahead and watch some of it in live, real-time action. I thought it was pretty interesting. Pretty fun to watch because it's like, God dang, turns out I was right. So for anybody saying that the jibby jab was a conspiracy theory of, you know, all the bad things that could happen, well, what was this, 5-6 years later, conspiracy theory turned into a fact, right? Right? Yeah. Nod your head. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and watch Mr. Fauci. Doctor, is he even a real doctor at this point? Is he even a real doctor? I don't know. But, you know, let's go ahead and watch Dr. Fauci drop some knowledge on you fools. All right, here we go.
Advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the...
Hold on.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich. While people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich, and not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you?
All right, I'm going to stop him right there. And while he's talking, I'm just going to show you. This is what Dr. Fauci is saying as he stares at him the entire time. He's looking at him like this.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
Just think. That's what's going through his head. You got rich. You killed hundreds of thousands of people. A lot of people died. Taxpayers' money and all this.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
In a nutshell. Let's continue.
That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Dr. Fauci pulled the I'm just here so I won't get fined. You know what I mean? I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's what he pulled. He went there and just straight hit it with that I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant.
We got some reptilian eyes back there. He got them too. Hell, they all probably freaking, yeah.
And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Folkers says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID. He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
Yes, I will answer that on behalf of Dr. Fauci. And the answer that Dr. Fauci is going to give you is the answer is
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
yeah, there's the end of it. So as we can see, bro just went ahead and played the card that he was dealt, and he played it quite well. I don't think he answered any questions. They said he invoked the Fifth over 100 times. I don't know how many to be exact, but that should tell you everything that you need to know. I mean, he went in on a bunch of other questions and stuff that I don't want to sit here and just stand and watch him grill Fauci about, because you already knew what it was. You know what I mean? You really knew what it was. And we got
I find it
we have another lady right here, Arizona State Secretary Janae Shamp. She holds up pages by another doctor, and it lays out that it says right here that the CDC released a 148-page document on myocarditis after the shots were given, and every single word was redacted. Oh boy, let's take a look and let her talk for a little bit. She ain't gonna go long, but let's just hear. And this says, do you remember when the strong flu 19 package insert was blank? So this was from a while back. I don't know how long ago this was, but let's see what she says. We'll let this play for a quick second.
Information like this, you know, inserts for the vaccine. Papers there, and there's nothing printed on it. I find that very interesting. Disheartening, disgusting, and lots of other words. But then it gets better. It just keeps, wait, there's more. It just keeps happening. The CDC redacts every single word of a 148-page study on a myocarditis after COVID vaccination.
Okay, we ain't got to hear no more than that. She said they redacted it. They redacted every single word. They handed her hey, I want all the information that you have providing the vaccines. They were like, okay. Hey, got a Sharpie and just shh, every single sentence, every paragraph. Here you go. Handed her a paper with black lines all over it. They even redacted the dates. They redacted the part where it says, dear so-and-so. Yeah, redact that too. That's crazy work. How you redact every single word, bro? Even the LIVESTREAM files wasn't redacted to that level. Good Lord, like, come on. Whew. Sometimes you just gotta laugh, bro, because it is what it is at the end of the day. It really is what it is. Ain't nothing you can do, bro. It's crazy as hell. It's crazy when you look at it. Let me see if we get some more of this in here. Let's see if we get some. Oh yeah. Mr. Vance himself, he took the jibby jab. So, you know, if anybody who takes the jibby jab, you know, I mean, you know, I think he already has kids though. Well, I think Vance got like 2 kids or something like that. 1, 2, 3 kids or something like that. So luckily for him, his kids ain't tampered with as far as his seed goes. So he got his kids in there before he got the strong flu. So he's straight. But let's hear what Mr. Vance says about the strong flu. Let's put him up here. Here we go.
I took the vax, and you know, I haven't been boosted or anything, but the moment where I really started to get red pilled on the whole vax thing was the sickest that I've been in the last 15 years by far was when I took the vaccine. And I've had COVID at this point 5 times. I was in bed for 2 days. My heart was racing. I was like, the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about that, even, no like serious injury, but even the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about the fact that I was as sick as I've ever been for 2 days, and the worst COVID experience I had was like a sinus infection. I'm not really willing to trade that. And you don't even, everybody that I know, or a lot of people I know they talk about the second shot that they got of the vaccine that made them really, really sick. Well, that's a side effect, and not a side effect that we even talk about enough in this country.
No, it's also, again, we're talking about companies that have.
I gotta give it. Nah, Rogan, you ain't coming home. I mean, I'll let you talk a little bit, Mr. Rogan, but your boy gotta, hold it down. But yeah, sick as he ever been was after he took the jibby jab. Bro got that jab and was like, I feel weak. I remember though. I'll tell you this. I remember what he said. I only believe him because of experience. I remember back when I was working at this hospital, a lot of the nurses and doctors or whatever, and what's the other kind of nurse? You got a nurse, not an assistant nurse, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. In the hospital, all the nurses, all of them got the jibby jab. Maybe like one or two did it, but all of them, and even the ones who tried to stand tall and stand firm and stand high on the mountain, they even came down from that mountain too. Yeah. They even fell off the mountain, left your boy stranded. But I remember when they took the jab, right? And they went and got that second one, that booster, bruh. So many nurses either stayed at work and they were extremely like fatigued and lethargic and was complaining about how they felt, and you could see in their eyes, or a bunch of them called off of work the very next day because of how bad they felt. I kid you not. I remember that verbatim. I was like, bruh, why do y'all look so terrible? Because I remember when I caught it one time, I think I had it once. And I think I had it prior to it became known as a thing on the news. I remember, and I was like sick I was weak. Like I had no energy. I was like stuck and I couldn't move. Now I couldn't prove to you what it was because at the time this thing didn't exist. But when they came out later on and said, well, all the symptoms and all the crap was and how you feel, I've never felt that weak before in my life. I was stuck on my couch. Like I couldn't do anything. I was just like, what is this? And I mean, that lasted for like a good 2 days. I was just weak as a man. I was so weak. I never forget that. I just like had to lay there and just like, let this pass. Please let this pass. Like I never forget that feeling. I remember at the time with some people I had worked with, they'd even mentioned feeling that way too before the Strong Flu 19 came out. And they were like, dude, I think I had it before it was a thing. I was like, me too. I believe I got it like a month or 2 or 3 before it came out to known to the masses. So I think it'd been a thing. Just, they had to, prop the stage up, had their people put on their gear, throw out some fake body bags, make a scene, put some fog out there, get some strobe lights going. It was like, and action. And then, all the boomers sat in front of the TV and were scared shitless. You know what I mean? That's basically what they did. And I mean, that stuff be working on boomers for sure. Because boomers gonna eat that up, bro. The baby boomers gonna eat that up. Boy, they like, oh my God, you see what happened? It's like, oh Lord. What happened? Oh, everybody's dying. Now, some people did die. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I'm just going to say, people with bad health and bad hearts and, any underlying disease or anything, like it attacked and harmed those people the most. Because that's what it was designed to do. You know what I mean? It was like it was almost like a old person and anybody with a disease type, get rid of remedy. That's what it was basically for, was to get rid of people with underlying diseases and old age is what they were aiming for. That's what they did. Then, kids had to stay inside from school, people missing funerals and, you can't see funerals. Graduations were screwed up. Transitioning from junior high to high school got screwed up. Transition from elementary school to middle school or intermediate school, that got screwed up. I mean, just a whole lot went into it, man. A whole, like, people can't come and see their loved ones in the ER. You know what I mean? Coming there to see your loved one in the ER, you're dying all by yourself. People want to come see you. Nurses doing accidental deaths, like, oops, and then call it COVID. I mean, bruh, it's a lot of stuff that went into that, bro. I ain't gonna talk about that part, but I mean, a nurse could have accidentally killed you and then was been like, COVID got him. And move on. You know what I mean? Hit you with the bad news that, you know, you died from COVID, add you to the tally box and all that good stuff. But not saying that everything of it was a farce, just that there were people that were affected by it. Just people with weaker immune systems. People who weren't as strong. People who had diseases and stuff like that. But that's crazy. Let's see if we can find some more. Oh, yeah. So that dude, the one we were watching, the senator that was grilling Dr. Fauci, I found this. We'll just take a look at it real quick. I don't know how much this really does, but let's just go ahead and take a look at this. All right. Somebody said breaking. The administration just awarded Pfizer another $1.24 billion in COVID vaccine contracts. It's covering the rest of the fiscal year for 26 and 27, including hundreds of millions of earmarked for pediatric doses. Pediatric. I can't say that word. Pediatric doses. Let's see. Let's read this. So the CDC Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine contracts. So for the fiscal year of 26 through 27, it was awarded on June 1st. So as of today, 2 months ago, on June 1st, the CDC and Prevention Office of Acquisition Services awarded 2 indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts, the IDIQ, to Pfizer for the strong flu 19 vaccines covering the remainder of the fiscal year in all fiscal year 2027. The combined maximum value of the 2 contracts is $1.24 billion. Dr. Evil laugh on you. So here's the contract number. Here's the type. It is the indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. So the IDIQ. Ceiling value 735. Purpose is for children. Basically, pediatric 19 vaccines for children. And then you have the other contract, ceiling value of over half a million. It's for the adults. So yeah. So then they totaled that. They said the important context is that these are the IDIQ contracts. They establish a ceiling and ordering vehicles so that the government can place delivery orders later if needed. They do not automatically equal money already spent. The Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has publicly stated that the claims the CDC has already spent $1.2 billion is incorrect. He described the contracts as a framework put in place and ahead of the season to ensure availability if needed. And he said that the HHS and CDC have not purchased these vaccines for the upcoming respiratory season and have made no decisions on for future purposes. So the public contracting records list the awards. Reporting by The Hill and others cited that the combined 1.24 figure, which matches the sum of the 2 published ceilings. And as of June 2026 reporting, the contract listings remain publicly available. Some were later noted as inactive while questions about use continued. So therefore it's there in case it needs to be needed. So it's a just in case contract, you know. You've heard of those before, right? It's a just in case contract. Yeah, like not yet. Hold on. Just in case. The case is highly likely, but just in case. You know what I mean? That's what they got. So you got your sources right here. Here are your primary sources. I'm not going to go over all this, but I had just seen that. I was like, well, that's interesting to kind of talk about because I want to see to establish that. So later on in life, well, you know, if they already put a just in case clause for the fiscal year of 26 and 27, then that means they're probably going to use it. You know. Speaking of nurses, let's hear what a nurse said during the strong flu 19. Let's see if what she was, let's see, I mean, because we heard from Mr. Fauci himself and, you know, how he just wasn't, you know, trying to answer any questions or anything like that. Let's see what some people who they call heroes on the front line. Let's see what some people were saying about these actual strong flu 19s. So we have a nurse right here, which she did this video a long time ago. I remember this video back when it happened, and she was saying this. Let's just go back and just look at what a nurse had to say who was on the front line, front row, search and center, dealing with this type of situation. Let's see what she says about the strong flu 19 as it was occurring. Here we go.
These people aren't dying from COVID. Let me give you several examples here. An anesthesiologist intubated the patient's, like, I think it was right bronchi and of a patient, and they couldn't get the sats up, and for about 5 hours, like, we were waiting on a chest x-ray to confirm that the placement was wrong. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, and we've told the anesthesiologist that it was placed wrong, because, like, literally only one side of his fucking chest is, like, inflating, he dies. Okay? A patient had a heart rate of 40, and the resident started doing chest compressions on him, which is not what you do. You just externally pace them, or you give them some atropine. And
my 2 cents. I studied EKG monitors. If you got a heart rate of 40, that could be a possibility, as in not a bad thing. It could just be that you have a strong heart because you exercise and you take care of your fitness. You exercise regularly, so you probably will have a slower heartbeat. Some people have a faster heartbeat, but you could have a slower heartbeat. So a 40 heartbeat, if nothing's wrong with you, you good. 40 is kind of like, but at the same time, it's like you good though. You just kind of want to check on to make sure they straight. But I mean, to say it's like 40, you know what I mean? Could it be like 45 to 40, 35 to 40? We don't know. But, like to just start chest compressions on a person that's at a 40, that ain't the right move.
then, I run in there to stop him from doing chest compressions on somebody with a fucking pulse.
And by the way, this is something that you got to know. I got to let you know about this. When they do chest compressions on you, if you call it code blue or whatever, or code red or whatever code it was called, because your heart reading for your EKG monitor is off or something is bad, or you're basically like flatlining, like you're watching them fade away, or their heart rate jumps up to like 250, 200 or something, you call a code, everybody get in there. If that's the case and they actually have to do these things, I just want you to know this. When they do these chest compressions, and depending on what your documentation says, if they say to save you, whatever the case may be, whatever they save you, if in the case they save you and they have to do these chest compressions and they probably even shoot you with something to keep you alive or whatever, but when they do these chest compressions, they do these shits so hard they will break your ribs. They'll break your ribs. They'll hear them crack, crack. They will be breaking your shit up inside of you. They will. And hey, the way they see it, at least we saved your life if you make it through. So just keep in mind that what she's saying, you don't know the other side of that. So when she's saying you're doing chest compressions on somebody with an effing pulse, that's why she's emphasizing that part, is because the chest compressions that they be doing, because they think you're dying or they're trying to save you, it's go all out to, save a life. And these chest compressions do be breaking ribs. So just throwing that out there in case you didn't know. Continue.
And then he decides to push epi. He throws some pads on him to defibrillate the guy in bradycardia. Okay, he has a heart rate of 40 in a stable, bradycardic rhythm. We just need to give him some atropine and pace him. He fucking defibrillates him and kills him. And I was literally ran out of the patient's room to get the director of nursing who was standing out there. And I'm like, can you stop him? He's going to kill that patient. He's going to kill that patient if he defibrillates him with bradycardia and a heart rate of 40. And the director of nursing just shook his head. And I turned around and he killed the dude. Okay. There was a nurse who placed an NG tube into some guy's lungs and filled his lungs with tube feeding. There was a nurse who confused a long-acting insulin with a short-acting insulin and gave 30 units of a fast-acting insulin and killed the guy.
Moral of the story is, take care of your health and do everything you can to stay your ass out of a hospital at any point in your life. Try your hardest. That's what I learned. Stay out of hospitals and take care of your health as much as you possibly can. Do everything. change your diet, go to the gym, go work out, go jogging, do everything you can to stay out of hospitals. Because you do sign a contract in them hospitals and you do give them the right to minister what they deem as life-saving practices to take care of you. And their word is basically above your word in certain instances. So you might just want to take care of yourself because there is paperwork being signed over there. And, you know, the power of, you know, pen and paper is extremely strong. So that's what I take away. Stay out of hospitals as much as you possibly can. Take care of yourself and stay away from them freaking hospitals. Because, yeah, man. I mean, that's the type of stuff that happens, and that's crazy. And she was in New York, so for sure as hell, don't take your ass to New York and go to the hospital, especially now. Hell, if it was bad in 2020, then imagine how bad it is now. And my question is, now that hindsight is 2020, I be wondering, like, how many of them nurses was sleeper cell operatives? How many of them nurses was paid to, like, you know, if you can do a few oopsies, we'll chunk you a bag. You know what I mean? That's just that's just me throwing hypotheticals in there. I mean, it's, you really can't put it past anything in today's world. So you never know. Could have been a possibility. Some people could have been able to catch bodies and get in bags for them back then. You never know. You never know. And we'll take another look at Fauci, you know, and of course we have a black woman leading the charge. Let's go. We have a black woman leading the charge with Fauci. They're in a neighborhood trying to preach the strong flu 19 gospel to people and get them vaccinated with some French fries and some, you know, catfish nuggets or whatever you want to call it. Just shout out to CGA. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy who stood his ground against Fauci and the old mammy black woman leading the charge to get everybody vaccinated, and in the future, come to find out, pleading the fifth. Here we go. Let's see what this is about.
Are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But
the only reason I'm talking to you close enough right now is because I've been vaccinated. Yeah, but he hasn't. So are you immune from him giving you the vaccine? I'm just trying to figure this part out. Does it make any sense? So all of y'all been vaccinated. He hasn't been. So therefore, he should be giving it to you unvaxxers. But therefore, your unvaxxer was, you know, the immune. You know, it was the immuner. It was like it would repel the people who weren't vaccinated because you were vaccinated, given this Pharisees serum. She retarded. Well, ma'am, how does that statement holding up for you today? I hope everything is well. I don't wish bad on nobody, but you standing right next to the dude. Maybe you didn't get vaccinated. You could be lying your ass off just like he was lying his ass off when he was talking. Both of y'all probably lying. Neither one of y'all probably vaccinated. You probably lying and telling him you are, you ain't. We know Fauci ain't vaccinated. Allegedly, he did get vaccinated, but they kept it on wraps. But we don't know what's true and what's not. But we will say this. We know that homie pled the fifth over 100 times. And that spoke volumes. And here she is standing next to the dude pleading who later on, 5 years later, pleaded the fifth over 100 times. And let's say she did get vaccinated. I bet she feels stupid now.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much
the common
more
flu.
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually, too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year?
I like when people say these things like they know the number off the top of their head. But I'll pull out my phone and Google this shit right in front of you to check your facts.
I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all given that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that.
Wait, I didn't catch that. What did she say? You gonna pay?
When you start talking about incentive,
Gonna pass?
yeah, you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
You gonna pay? I think she said you gonna pass. Are you gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because when you start talking about paying people that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think she said you gonna pass, as in like he ain't gonna get the shot.
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with.
And that's true. Paying people to get vaccinated is crazy because, like I said, you giving me a shot for free, and I can't get no Pepto-Bismol when I got a stomach ache for free. You paying me to take a shot, but you won't pay me for some Advil when I got a headache. You paying me for a shot. Now I know people saying, Daniel, you can't pass it. Okay, cool. Well, then let's go with this one. You paying me to take a free shot. You paying me to take a free shot. But when I come down with some sort of, sickness where I'm coughing and sneezing, I can't get free NyQuil or free something that will help suppress whatever sickness I have for the moment to help me get over it. If that's the case, all the medicines over the counter should be free, and on the shelves, all the medicines should be free. Not just this strong flu 19. This don't make no sense, but hey. Super sperm over here, baby. I think they done, yeah, because he was just talking, he was just speaking his facts. Let them know he ain't with the nonsense. Got an old black lady leading the charge over there, man. Standing over there with white Zaddy talking about it. I'm only here to stand in front of you right now because I've been vaccinated. Well, good for you. Continue to do so. You know what I mean? All right. And you know what? I think it's good. We'll show this now. Let's go ahead and show this now. And as hindsight turned out to be 2025 or 6 years later, it shows that this right here. Somebody said that Fauci literally wrote in his diary COVID was only a 0.2% fatality rate. Fauci is confronted over writing in his diary that the strong flu 19 essentially just a flu, but then later locked down for a global pandemic and mandated vaccines. Fauci, you admitted your own diary that the COVID was nothing more than a flu. Are you going to admit that you unalived millions of people and threw your poisonous shots? When are you going to take responsibility for your mishandling of COVID, Fauci? Here is exactly what was written in Fauci's diary. Acting like a bad influenza, it is transmissibility. In its transmissibility, and that the case fatality rate was more like 0.2 to 0.3% rather than 2%. It's time to arrest Fauci for what they say. Anyway, I ain't finna arrest shit. Shut up. Let's go ahead and watch this video and see how Fauci walked through the courthouse being questioned with his chest held, with his head and his chest held high with a smile on his face, was saying those infamous words that I keep telling you. Let's see.
You admitted in your own diary that COVID was nothing more than a flu. Do you regret shutting the world down? Are you ever going to admit that you killed millions of people through your poison shots?
Right here, you see his face? All right, this is what he's saying to y'all. For some reason, y'all can't quite comprehend this part. Fauci is saying this to y'all. All right, I guess I have a failure on the soundbite. Let's try it again. Fauci is saying this to y'all.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers,
That's exactly what he's saying as he walks through everything. Continue.
When are you going to take responsibility for your mishandling of COVID?
Once again, this is when I'm going to take responsibility when I tell y'all.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers,
Yeah, what I mean? That's it.
When are you going to take responsibility for your mishandling of COVID, Doctor?
This is when I'll take responsibility, lady.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers,
Here's the evidence for that, directly written by Anthony Fauci in his diary. The COVID virus was acting like a bad influenza in its transmissibility, and that the case fatality rate was more like 0.2%, 0.2% rather than 2%.
Okay, I already read that. He's just reading the same thing that I read. Yeah, bro, a whole reptilian just walking through the courthouse, not a Karen sight. A whole reptilian just just, you know, chilling. You know what I mean? Not worried about nothing and all that good stuff. Let me see what else we have. What do we have here? So as we see, you know, it is what it is. Surviving Fauci, as we all see. Now, we can go in and see exactly how this stuff works. I don't know why, something's bothering my nose. And we're going to go in and see exactly how this stuff works and how bad it really could be, how fatal it could be in the future. So we're going to take a look at a few things. And I guess first we'll start with, where is it? Where are we at? Oh, well, first let's go ahead and hear what some of the famous people said. Let's hear some of what the famous people said. Let's put these famous people's faces on the screen. Never forget what a rock star who used to be the bass player for a band called Kiss, who wore makeup all the time and sold boner pills, if I'm not mistaken. You're willing to walk amongst us unvaccinated? You are the enemy. Who the hell is us? Don Lemonhead, don't have the vaccine, can't go to the supermarket, can't go to the ball game, can't go to work. No shoes, no shirts, no service. Don Lemon Lickum. Don licks lemon. Yeah, that's right. That's actually right. Whenever you see Don Lemon, just think Don licks lemon. That's what you need to think. Every time you see Don Lemon, you think Don licks lemon and think of this.
You lemon! Hey, Lord!
Don licks lemon. Jimmy Kimmel, who gets an ICU bed? Vaccinated person. Come right in. Unvaccinated person who gobbled horse goo. Rest in peace. Wheezy. That was by far the corniest stuff I've ever read in my life. I'm ashamed of myself that I just read that. Jimmy Kimmel, I'll slap you. Oh, Howard Stern. I'm not gonna say what I want to say, because I can't say that in the name of the late great Kanye West. I can't say who those people are. When are we gonna stop putting up with idiots in this country and just say it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them. F their freedom. Okay, buddy, you're starting to sound like a lioness there. Calm down, buddy. Oh Lord, here is the cuck. The one and only, the biggest cuck of all time, the millimeter Peter, Piers Morgan. I love the idea of COVID vaccination passports everywhere. Flight clubs, gyms, shops. It's time COVID denying anti-vaxxers loonies have their bullshit bluff called. Cuck Piers Morgan. Cuck Piers Morgan, who wifes bangs the pool guy and has this fool walking around on all fours with a red ball and leather around the house. Arnold Schwarzenegger, screw your freedom. That's what he said. All right, so never forget. That's what these clowns told you. Never forget what they said about all these strong flu 19, man. This is what these people were saying, talking this nonsense, scaring people to death, just scaring you. And let's see, here we go. We got this video of a person actually getting vaccinated. They shot the vaccine. They shot the vaccine into one of their own people. This will be a good one. So this will show us the positive effects and the strength that this stuff had, and how vaccinated people were completely immune to COVID, even though they caught COVID 5 times after getting vaccinated. But let's take a look at a nurse who got vaccinated, and let's see the positive effects that it had on her. Here we go.
My name is Tiffany Dofer, and I am the manager in CCU. For my team, we are in the COVID unit, so therefore, my team will be getting first chances to get the vaccine. And I know that it's really, I'm feeling really dizzy.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You okay? Wait, where are you going? The interview's not over. Oh, down goes Frazier, ladies and gentlemen. Frazier is down for the count. Turn the camera. No, put it back on her. Hurry, people. What's going on? All you did was put some water in her. What happened? Oh no, Fraser's down for the count. Quick, turn the camera off. What's going on? Oh, Jesus, and then it's flat earth. Oh my goodness. Hopefully she's okay. Hopefully nothing bad happened to her. Hopefully she didn't die. If she did, rest in peace, and my condolences to her family. But yeah, man. Seems like I guess it didn't work. Guess she had a allergic reaction. Guess the nature of her body couldn't do with the unnaturalness of the, you know, vaccine. I don't know. We have to show this. We have to show this. I have to show this. I have to show this. I have to show you this. I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna let this play and speak for itself.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment. Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
If you let it in, help!
What should I say? There's nothing I can say. You let a dude that looked like this convince you over some dead burgers and fries to take a free you know what? I ain't gonna say no more about that. Let's move on. That spoke volumes. Stupid ass. Golly. All right. Anyway. Anyway. Let's continue. All right. So let's see what we have here. We have another one here. And let's see what we got. Where is my thing? Let me see. Where is the thing? Where is it? I don't even know if this person is a real person. Let me see. Wait. Where is it? I'm trying to find the other thing. I can't show that. Oh my goodness. Let me see right here. Where is it? Come on, where is it? I should have. Oh, okay, that's why, because I'm not looking in the right spot. That's what it is. But well, before we do, there's actually a good one here that I wanted to show. Let's see. Where is it? I just had it. I don't know. Is this true? I don't know who this guy is. They say that this guy is the they say that this guy's Kerry Mullis, creator of the PCR test, and he speaks on Mr. Fauci. Let's hear his opinion. Why not?
What is it about humanity that wants to go to all the details and stuff and listen? You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine, and he should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to, and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera.
All right, well, you heard him there first. Okay, I don't know who you was, but sounds like you're right after what we just seen. Bro didn't want to lie. He wanted to invoke his Fifth Amendment. So let's see. They said, never forget. Once again, we got to show you some more where we don't forget. Then we're going to get to my part. And then I'm going to give you my understanding of how this works. All right, we're going to go into how I see this, okay? All right, this is the last one. This will be the last one. Mr. Fauci, once again, let's hear some of his truth he was speaking as everything was going on. He said that he even said he would testify at a Senate hearing at one point. I do remember him saying he would stand up and testify at a Senate hearing about all this stuff. But let's just see how this pans out. Let's watch this clip and let's see how this pans out. Dr. Fauci, CDC Director Walensky testifies at Senate COVID hearing. Well, let's see.
When you get into the real world, the effectiveness of vaccines falls short of the original efficacy. That is not at all the case with the vaccines for COVID-19.
So now we have two vaccines that are really quite effective.
The mRNA vaccine, highly effective,
Extraordinarily efficacious, 94 to 95% for mild to moderate disease, and virtually 100% efficacious.
because the real world effectiveness is even more impressive than the results of the clinical trial.
All right, well, we ain't gonna let all that play because they just gonna keep playing a dang Nutcracker song, and I'm finna get a YouTube thing here pretty soon saying, hey, that song there is not what you're supposed to be playing. All right, so with that being said, so we get the point. I made my point clear. We've heard it come out of Fauci's mouth. We watched some history about how they were doing all this. Now, let me see. Let me let Senator Bernie Moreno go ham one time. No, that's too long. That's like a 9-minute. You know what? We'll look at one more. One final one. Let's let the senators go one more. Let them go in one more time. Let's let them have their fun. Come on, one more. This is it. Then we gonna get on to the rest of it. Let's go ahead and let the senator go ahead and speak some violence. Here we go.
Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Schertler is?
No. Matter of fact, I invoke my Fifth Amendment.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I plead the Fifth, nigga.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
This is what the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution says. Let me help you out. According to Dr. Fauci, this is what the Fifth Amendment says, since you can't understand what he's trying to tell you.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
That's what he thinks it says, and that's how he's treating it. Invoke the fifth. Yeah.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
She back there
No,
smiling.
I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide.
Fauci, I don't think they hear you, Fauci. Fauci, they can't hear you, bro. You keep trying to tell them.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
But they not listening. They don't want to hear Fauci speak these words, but let's let him continue.
Bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who.
Let me help you out, Fauci. Fauci, I'm going to give you a break. Who wrote the Fifth Amendment? I'm going to go on a limb here. We're just going to say founding fathers, and then I'm going to plead the fifth right after.
Who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Wow. All right, let me tell you who David Schertler is for the audience. Because
I'm trying to figure out, why does it sound all crackly? Is it my speakers, or can y'all hear it crackle, snap, crackle, and popping too?
He was ejected by the chairman. He's a high-profile criminal attorney. He's represented some really great people, like Senator Bob Menendez.
They cleared it up. They fixed it.
Somebody who my Democrat colleagues may remember.
The reptilian frequency was causing, frequency to the sound. You know what I mean? Look at all these reptilians back here. Look at all of them. They all back there on their phones and stuff. Look at them. They're on both sides.
Took gold bars as bribes from the Egyptians.
Sounds like a pretty damn good brap to me. Gold bars? Just kidding. We don't accept bribes. Just kidding.
And there's an article here in the Washington Free Beacon that talks about why you would hire a guy like David Schertler. And the comment is, if you're in deep shit, that's who you call. Do you feel like you're in deep shit?
I think he feels like this.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
I think that's what he feels like, but I'm just saying.
The advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Clearly, what you think today is that somehow you're above reproach.
Yeah.
Somehow you feel like you don't need to be treated like a normal American.
Nah, not at all. Nope.
Can you do me a favor in the audience and stand up if during the time of the COVID pandemic, you were called a racist for calling the virus a Wuhan virus or the China virus? If you thought the 6-foot rule was total crap, if you thought the vaccine wasn't something that you should take, if you thought it was outrageous the way the mask policy was rolled out, if you were fired from your job for not taking that vaccine, including members of the military, if you thought closing schools was catastrophically stupid, and that you thought that during these times saying these things made you somehow a lesser human being.
Yeah, I'm listening. What you want us to do?
Dr. Fauci, can you just turn around and look at the people behind you?
Oh, we're supposed to stand up. Okay, I'm gonna stand up. Let me stand up too. Okay, I don't want to stand up too high. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna stand up with the people. I'm gonna stand up with the people. All right. Okay. I got this funny feeling though. I think I know what he's gonna say. Hold on.
You're not willing to do that?
Wait. I think I know what he's gonna say. I think he's gonna say this.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
What y'all think? Let's see.
That's not a question. It's not a question. To your lawyer, it's not a question. It's a request. All you have to...
He said, hey, lawyer. This is what Fauci said. He said, hey, lawyer. Lawyer's like, what, nigga? He said, hey, can I answer that question? He said, yeah, but make sure you say this.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
Fauci said, okay, thank you.
To do is look up from your lawyers and look at the people who were absolutely shamed for saying what we know now to be the truth. You can't even look at them? That's a question. Are you able to look at them? You can sit down in the audience.
I think he's going to answer it truthfully, guys.
There was
I think he's going to answer it.
In Ohio during the depth of the coronavirus pandemic.
Okay. And?
Decided to go to her high school football game for her son.
Yeah, she wasn't able
They
to do
hadn't
that.
been out much. The kids had been learning at school.
Yeah, she had to wear a mask to watch that football game outside.
And then the school got shut down.
Yeah,
they hadn't really gotten much out of that education. As any parent knew, that remote learning was no learning at all.
No,
But as
not
a
at all. That's probably why Gen Z and millennials, well, that's probably why women are able or are now selling vagina at an astonishing rate in today's society. I think stifling that education and them going out and getting these online degrees during that time, I think that just increased the vagina selling at that point. Because boy, they came out with that hot pocket, boy, and everybody was just going to town. I'm just telling you, I'm just going on a limb here, but I'm just saying.
Friday night.
It's like the prerequisite for where we at now.
Her son wanted to go watch a buddy go play football. So they went to the stadium. They sat alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids.
Oh, sad story.
They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid.
No, wearing a mask wasn't stupid outside. You know, the particles of the COVID would float through the air, you know, and, you know, like the air COVID of the particles would float through the air, and then like people could like catch the air particles that float through the air because the earth spins on its axis at like hundreds of thousands of miles per hour. So when the COVID goes in through the air and the earth is spinning extremely fast, therefore the spinning of the earth will not knock out the balance of the air particles that are floating through the air. And as the air particles of the COVID is floating and the earth is spinning on its axis at hundreds of millions of miles an hour as fast as it spins, it'll just go in my nostrils, and then I would be damaged with strong flu 19 and have to get a vaccine shot and get the boosters. What is this senator talking about? This guy's completely unreasonable.
Because they were outside. They all live together. They're not near anybody.
You don't have to be near anybody, Senator. The wind can blow. Somebody sneezes, coughs, farts, burps, or let off any kind of chemical gas, queefs, anything of that nature. And then the COVID would just come through out of the orifices of a human and then just go right in through the nostrils with the earth spinning at thousands of miles per hour, floating through the air. And even if the wind blows, COVID is so strong that if the wind blows to the left, COVID will just continue its course. And if the wind blows south, well, COVID will still keep going left. If the wind blows north, well, COVID will just keep going left because that's how strong it is. And it's unpredictable. It's extremely penetrable through the airwaves of the air pollutants of the earth, and where the honeybees are not able to actually pollinate the pollen correctly. So therefore people are highly prone to catch COVID. You understand what I'm saying? It really makes sense. You got to be idiots to can't figure this out. That's science, by the way. Science. I learned that from B movie.
Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family?
I don't know. And at this point, I have to tell you, Senator, don't care. I just know that in the end, what probably happened to that family, according to Dr. Fauci, he probably said,
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
I'm just taking a wild guess. I could be wrong, but I'm strongly going to say that's what he said. So I can't show this. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, boy. That's actually a funny picture. All right, so let's get into the real meat and potatoes of all this. Let me go ahead and get serious on you now, because now we have to talk about what the serious situation is about all this, okay? Let's talk about the implications and the seriousness that this stuff could cause, amongst other things. So we got a gentleman here. I forget his name. I don't know his name. I wish I knew his name. Marcelo Daniel, is that your name? I don't know. Daniels? Could be. I could be wrong. But we're going to hear this gentleman speak. And he's going to talk about DNA being altered. Spike proteins is attacking now in real time, and genetic predisposition of illness is now people wiping out lineages. Let's hear what this gentleman has to say, and if we could tie this in conjunction with the strong flu 19, which Dr. Fauci, not by himself, he's just the face, he's just the fall guy, but by the help of a huge conglomerate of entities and species and people behind him, push forward and promote it. Let's see what it does. Let's see if this guy's correct or if he's false. Here we go.
The entire human genome has been poisoned with a gene that has never been in the human genome ever in history. Reverse transcriptase doesn't only cause cancer. If something is reverse transcribed and alters the DNA of a sperm or an egg, that DNA change, if that sperm or egg survives and turns into a human being, lasts forever.
This is the magnitude of evil we are dealing with. We are dealing with.
Did y'all catch that? Now, I'm not saying this is part of the Strong Flu 19 because he didn't say it directly. So, but we're saying that he's saying that there is a DNA altering that is happening amongst people, that when people have this altering of DNA and they have children, it passes down to the lineage. So the altering of the DNA continues to the lineage of the children and the offspring and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren and the great-great-grandchildren and the great-great-great and so on and so forth. Therefore, your legacy, your lineage is tainted. Let's let him keep talking.
People who have the money, the power to pollute the entire human genome. I think because of this, we're going to lose about 1 billion children. So any mother to be, even if she is not pregnant yet, if she gets an mRNA vaccine, those mRNAs are going to go to the ovaries. There's DNA that stays silent, that is never transcribed into proteins until the next generation. And it'll only show up when that adult tries to have another child. 5 billion people have been injected so far on this planet. Half of them are women.
5 billion people. Oh my God. Hold on. We got to crunch some numbers. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold on, sir. Wait a minute. Hold on, sir. 5 billion people have been injected. Half of them are women. Well, I mean, shit. $5 billion people, half of them are women. So the other half are men? I'm going to give you a second chance. Let's see.
Half of them are women. 2.5 billion. Half of them will be women who are young enough to have children. There are 1.25 billion carriers of mutations in the egg cell line of their bodies. 1.25 million women who are capable of giving birth to children who carry something that has never been seen before in the human species, in the entire human genome.
So I'm going to go and say that what this man is talking about, regardless if you want to say it's related to a strong flu 19 or not, that's up to you to decipher. I'm just giving you information. What he is talking about, he's talking about the temple. He's talking about your temple, your body, which the Bible calls that the temple. Inside of it is being altered. DNA is being tampered with to a level that, you know, is really evil. You shouldn't be playing with DNA, but hey, here we are. We have this going on. In what way? I don't know, but I would assume it would cause somebody to stick something inside of you to make it happen. Now, if somebody's trying to alter your DNA And then it passes down to your children, your lineage. And you know this. You, in my opinion, have a duty, a responsibility to not allow that shit to happen. Okay? Now, when him talking about this, I always had this video of this lady who spoke on this. And I only found a short snippet of it. I'd have to find the other snippet that's in my other video. Where's the... What kind of thing? Okay, let me start from the beginning. There we go. And she speaks on it, and she talks about the creator, who has a. There's been when it comes to science, allegedly there's been a science that says that the creator has instilled numbers inside of our DNA structure. She says it's 10, 5, 6, 5. Right, and she says those letters 10, 5, 6, 5. Oh, excuse me, those numbers 10, 5, 6, 5 transcribe over to letters YHVH. And some people are saying, potentially including her, I don't know, says that it'll alter your DNA through a jibby jab. And it adds a triple helix strand, which we have a double helix naturally. They're saying that the jibby jab changes your double helix to a triple helix, which then turns your number code in your body to 10-5-6-6-6-5. And it could be a mark because it's altering your DNA and it passes on to your lineage for a long time to come. Now, let's hear what she has to say, and then I'm going to go even further with my research. All right, so let's go ahead and put on a screen and let's let her talk her ish. Here we go.
Your DNA is a right-handed double helix made up of these four things right here:
adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine.
And the helix is held together by sulfuric bonds that appear after every 10 pairs of nucleotides. Do I have your attention yet?
Okay. So she's saying that a particular jibby jab could alter and change your DNA structure from 10-5-6-5 to 10-5-6-6-6-5, changing your double helix strand to a triple helix strand. Now, we're going to go on a little further because I got to keep going with this. And this is what she's saying. Now, when I do research and, you tend to study history or historical documents or older scientists and different people of that nature, I happened to come across a particular gentleman by the name of Rudolf Steiner, born in 1861, died in 1925. All right. And he had a particular document, or I should say a book or lecture that he did. And in it, he said something very, very profound, which this is over 100 years ago, easily, because he died in 1925, was his 2026. So his death is 101 years ago. He probably did the lecture in like the 1900s, early 1900s. So in his 40s, I would assume, who knows? He probably could have did it in the late 1800s. But this is what he said about a lecture way back when. So I'm going to read this part of the lecture to you, and then we're going to dive in deeper to the lecture to see exactly what he meant or what he was talking about. All right, so here we go. Rudolf Steiner here. Eliminate the soul with medicine, he says. More than 100 years ago, Rudolf Steiner wrote the following Organized Earth. I don't know how to say that word. Excuse me, The Organized Earth. He wrote the following in The Organized Earth. There we go. It's one word. I couldn't see it. This is what it says. And this is what he said. In the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine under the pretext of a healthy point of view. There will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possible directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of the existence of soul and spirit. The materialistic doctors will be entrusted with the task of removing the soul of humanity. As today, People are vaccinated against this disease or that disease. So in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to this vaccination, will be immune to being subjugated to the madness of spiritual life. He would be extremely smart, referring to the materialistic doctors or the materialistic person who takes these jibby jabs. He would be extremely smart, but he would not develop a conscience. And that is the future goal of some materialistic circles. With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body would become extremely unstable, and man will become an automaton. For the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So, the vaccine becomes a kind of an aromatic force. Man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. Rudolf Steiner, 1861 to 1925. Interesting, isn't it? Makes you wonder. So then I went and I found this. And we're going to go on and read this. The aromatic impulse in the syringe. An in-depth analysis of Rudolf Steiner's 1917 prophecy on vaccination and the soul. Kind of like what we just read. Part 1 has an esoteric analysis of the prophecy. Section 1, 1917 warning, locating the source and meaning. We can deconstructing the viral prophecy. I'm going to skip over this. And I'm going to get to right here. This is what this says. Actually, you know what? It's all the same. Part 1 right here, deconstructing the viral prophecy. So paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. I'll read both to you. Deconstructing the viral prophecy. Let me zoom in so you can see that. In the digital age, certain ideas achieve a viral velocity that propels them far beyond their original context, often undergoing significant transformation in the process. Few esoteric concepts exemplify this phenomenon better than a prophecy attributed to the Austrian philosopher and spiritual scientist Rudolf Steiner concerning the future of medicine. The text, widely circulated across social media platforms and alternative news outlets, presents a stark and chilling vision, and it begins with heading, "Eliminate the soul with the medicine," and proceeds to outline a future in which, under the guise of public health, a vaccine will be administered at birth. The stated purpose of this vaccine is to prevent the human being from ever developing the thought of the existence of the soul and spirit. Now, before I go any further, I always use the Bible as a foundation of anything that I, do some deep dive and researching. Don't this shit fall in line with some shit Satan would do? Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't this fall in line? Remember in the story where Jesus was born? I forget the name of the king at the time. He sent all them people out to go kill every baby that was like under the age of 5, like 5 and under, to kill all the baby to where to the city or town that Jesus was born in, because they were trying to kill Jesus. And he didn't. Jesus ended up fulfilling the prophecy. It's almost like they messed up that time, but we gonna get this shit right the second time. When you look at it from a context, like, this seemed like some perfect devilish shit. Let's read the second paragraph. The prophecy, as commonly presented, assigns the task of removing the soul of humanity to materialistic doctors. It draws a parallel between contemporary vaccination against disease and a future inoculation against what materialists would deem the madness of spiritual life. They call spiritual life madness. The outcome of this procedure would be a human being who is extremely smart, but he would not develop a consciousness. This, the text asserts, is the true goal of some materialistic circles. The mechanism for the spiritual lobotomy is described in esoteric terms. The vaccine will make the etheric body loose in the physical body. This detachment destabilizes the individual's relationship with the universe, transforming them into an automation, because the physical body can no longer be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine, therefore, becomes a potent Hermetic force, a term of art within Steiner's cosmology, which renders a person constitutionally materialistic and incapable of ascending to a spiritual life. Does that not fall in line with some shit an evil person would do when they screwed up the first time and is trying to get it right to say? This falls in line with devil practice. Because they messed up the first time and they're trying to get it right the second time. So to think that this is like, far-fetched, to me, is crazy. This text serves as the central object of this investigation, a powerful and conscious articulation of a profound spiritual anxiety. And we can trace the origin, which is the fall of the spirits of darkness. And that's what this is about. And I'll read this last part right here. Actually, I will read this. This is what I wanted to read. Here's the final part. The thesis of this lecture, because this was a lecture that he did. The thesis of this lecture series is that a pivotal event occurred in the spiritual worlds in the autumn of 1879. After a 40-year battle, the Archangel Michael was victorious over certain backward angels or spirits of darkness. These fallen spirits were subsequently cast out of the heavens and made their abode on earth, where they began to exert an intense influence on human consciousness, particularly in the realms of thinking and perception. Steiner argued that humanity, for the most part, was asleep to this profound shift in the spiritual landscape. The chaos of materialism of the early 20th century were, in his view, direct consequences of these fallen spirits actively working to sow confusion and guide humanity toward a purely materialistic worldview. It is within this dramatic context of a world embroiled in both physical and spiritual warfare that Steiner issued his warning about a future medical intervention. The relevant passages that form the basis of the viral prophecy are found specifically in the lectures given on October 7th and October 27th in 1917. I mean, bruh. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And it's really, and it's one of those things where it's like, seek and ye shall find. And for, to find information like this and then sit here and just deny it, but then look out into the world and see the shit actually actively happening, is why I always tell you, stick to nature. Stick to nature at all costs. Take care of your body. Take care of your temple. Eat healthy, exercise, work out, pray, meditate, and fast. Fast, fast, fast. Go on a fast, 24-hour fast. Do 24-hour fast at least. Try to do one at least once a month. Then go harder and do a 48-hour fast. And when I say fast, either drink only water or nothing at all. But the longer the fast you go, drink water. Go on a 72-hour fast. Do these fasts. It's the only power it's one of the superpowers that you have to go against all of the, pollutions and toxins and parasites that we put in our body. Couple the fasting with meditation and prayer. Yeah. Just think about it. Now, when we look at all this and we take all this stuff and we put it all together, then we go on to their own documents. And we're going to take this document. I'm going to have to read this to you again because I did this before, but you know, people don't listen. So when they talk about altering of the DNA, altering of, changing your genetic makeup, changing the constitution of man and making him materialistic, let's just go ahead and just read the paperwork that's been presented. I got you. So here in October term, slip opinion, it's a syllabus, 2012, says where it's feasible, a syllabus will be released as is being done in connection with this case. At the time the opinion is issued, the syllabus constitutes no part of the opinion of the court, but has been prepared by the reporter of decisions for the convenience of the reader. So it's just a syllabus. Okay. So now that we understand what the syllabus is and what it holds and how it presents, it's convenient for the reader. However, it constitutes no part of the opinion of the court, but they prepared it for the convenience of the reader. So, it's not true. So here we go. Supreme Court of U.S. Association for Molecular Pathology versus Myriad Genetics, Inc. Centurium to the United States Court of the Appeals for the Federal Circuit. So let's go ahead and just read this. Each human gene is encoded as deoxyribonucleic acid, which is called your DNA. It takes the shape of a double helix. Each crossbar in that helix consists of two chemically joined nucleotides. Sequences of DNA nucleotides contain the information necessary to create strings of amino acid used to build proteins in the body. The nucleotides that code for amino acids are exons, and those that do not are called introns. Scientists can extract DNA from cells to isolate specific segments for study. They can also synthetically create exon-only strands out of nucleotides known as complementary DNA or cDNA. So the C stands for complementary DNA. Now, this complementary DNA contains only the exons that occur in DNA, omitting the intervening introns. Okay? So they can also synthetically create exon-only strands because you have exons and introns. They can create a synthetically exon-only strand of nucleotides known as cDNA. And it only contains exons that occur in DNA, and it omits the intervening introns. So you only have one part of it. Now, the respondent in this case obtained several patents after discovering the precise location and sequence of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes, the mutations of which can dramatically increase the risk of breast cancer and ovarian cancer. This knowledge allowed Myriad to determine the gene's typical nucleotide sequence, which in turn enabled it to develop medical tests useful for detecting mutations in these genes in a particular patient to assess the patient's cancer risk. If valid, the Myriad's patent would give it the exclusive right to isolate an individual's BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes and would give Myriad the exclusive right to synthetically create BRCA cDNA. The petitioners filed suit seeking a declaration that Myriad's patents are invalid. As relevant here, the district court granted summary judgment to petitioners, concluding that Myriad claims were invalid because they covered products of nature. Okay. We'll skip down. Held. A naturally occurring DNA segment is a product of nature and not patent eligible, merely because it has been isolated. But cDNA is patent eligible because it is not naturally occurring. Let me read that again. A naturally occurring DNA segment is a product of nature and not patent eligible merely because it has been isolated. But cDNA is patent eligible because it is not naturally occurring. Okay, so they made it so cDNA is patent eligible. They found a way to consider it that. So the Patent Act presents patents to be issued to whoever invents or discovers any new and useful compositions of matter. But laws of nature, natural phenomenon, and abstract ideas are basic tools of scientific technological work, and they lie beyond the domain of patent protection. The rule against patents on naturally occurring things has limits. However, patent protection strikes a delicate balance between creating incentives that lead to creation, inventions, and discovery, and impeding the flow of information that might permit, indeed spur, invention. This standard is used to determine whether Myriad's patents claim a new and useful composition of matter or claim naturally occurring phenomenon. Myriad's DNA claim falls within the law of nature exception. Myriad's principal contribution was uncovering the precise location and genetic sequence of the BRCA1 and 2 genes in this case law, and is central to the patent eligibility inquiry whether such action was new, with markedly different characteristics as from any found in nature. Myriad did not create or alter anything. The genetic information encoded in BRCA1 and 2 genes are the genetic structure of the DNA. It found an important and useful gene, but groundbreaking innovation or even brilliant discovery does not by itself satisfy Section 101 inquiry. So finding the location of BRCA1 and 2 genes does not render genes patent eligible. New compositions of matter, Myriad adds patent descriptions highlight the problem with this claim. So they detail the extensive process of discovery, but extensive effort alone is insufficient to satisfy 101's demands. So Myriad's claims are not saved by the fact that isolating DNA from the human genome serves the chemical bonds that bind gene molecules together. The claims are not expressed in terms of chemical composition, nor do they rely on the chemical changes resulting from isolations of a particular DNA section. Instead, they found on the genetic information encoded in BRCA1 and 2 genes. Finally, Myriad argues that the Patent and Trademark Office's past practice of awarding gene patents is entitled to deference, citing this case law, a case where Congress had endorsed a PTO practice in subsequent legislation. There has been no such endorsement here, and the United States argued in the Federal Circuit and in this court that isolated DNA was not patent eligible under subsection 101. So we keep going. cDNA is not a patentable product or is not a product of nature. cDNA is not a product of nature. So it is patent eligible under subsection 101. cDNA does not present the same obstacles to patentability as naturally occurring isolated DNA segments. Its creation results in an exon-only molecule, which is not naturally occurring. Its order of exons may be dictated by nature, but the lab technician unquestionably creates something new when introns are removed from a DNA sequence to make cDNA. This case, it is important to note, does not involve method claims, patents on new applications of knowledge about BRCA1 and 2 genes, or the patentability of DNA in which the order of the naturally occurring nucleotides has been altered. Let's keep going. We're almost done. So the opinion of the court. This opinion is subject to formal revision before publication in the preliminary print of the U.S. reports. Readers are requested to notify the reporter of decisions. Supreme Court of the United States, Washington, D.C., 20543, of any typographical or other formal errors in order that the corrections may be made before the preliminary print goes to press. So here we go. Now again, do your research after I'm done reading this. Don't take this as gospel. So this justice right here, Justice Thomas delivered the opinion of the court. Respondent Marion Genetics discovered the precise location of the sequence of 2 human genomes, the mutation of which can be substantially increase the risk of breast and ovarian cancer. Myriad obtained a number of patents based upon its discovery. This case involves claims from 3 of them and requires us to resolve them whether a naturally occurring segment of DNA is patent eligible under 35 U.S.C. subsection 101 by virtue of its isolation from the rest of the human genome. We also addressed the patent eligibility of the synthetically created DNA known as cDNA, which contains the same protein coding information found in a segment of natural DNA, but omits portions within the DNA segment that do not code for protein. For the reason that follow, we hold that a naturally occurring DNA segment is a product of nature, and you cannot patent it, merely because it has been isolated, but that cDNA is patent eligible because it is not naturally occurring. We therefore affirm, in part and reverse in part of the decision of the United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. Genes form the basis for hereditary traits in living organisms. The human genome consists of approximately 22,000 genes packed into 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each is encoded as DNA, which takes the shape of the familiar double helix that Dr. James Watson and Francis Crick first described in 1953. Each crossbar in the DNA helix consists of 2 chemically joined nucleotides. The possible nucleotides are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, pairs with TC, pairs with G. The nucleotide crossbars are chemically connected to a sugar phosphate backbone that forms the outside framework of the DNA helix. I can't say this word. Sequences, there we go. Sequences of DNA nucleotide contain the information necessary to create strings of amino acid, which in turn are used in the body to build proteins. Only some DNA nucleotides, however, code for amino acids. These nucleotides are known as exons. Nucleotides that do not code for amino acids, in contrast, are known as introns. Creation of proteins from DNA involves 2 principal steps known as transcription and translation. In transcription, the bonds between DNA nucleotides, they separate, and the DNA helix unwinds into 2 single strands. A single strand is used as a template to create a complementary DNA RNA strand. A single strand is used as a template to create a complementary RNA strand. The nucleotides on the DNA strand pair naturally with their counterparts, with the exception that RNA uses nucleotide base uracil instead of thymine. The transcription results in a single strand RNA molecule known as pre-RNA, whose nucleotides form an inverse image of the DNA strand. Inverse, upside down image, reverse image, in which it was created. From pre-RNA still contains nucleotide corresponding to both the exons and introns in the DNA molecule. Pre-RNA is then naturally spliced by the physical removal of the introns. The resulting product is a strand of RNA that contains nucleotides corresponding only to the exons from the original DNA strand, so there's no more introns. The exon-only strand is known as messenger RNA or mRNA, which creates amino acids through translation. In translation, cellular structures known as ribosomes read each set of three nucleotides, known as codons, and the mRNA. Each codon either tells the ribosomes which of the 20 possible amino acids to synthesize or provides a stop signal that ends amino acid production. DNA's information sequence and the process that creates an mRNA, amino acids, and proteins occur naturally within the cell. Scientists can, however, extract DNA from cells using well-known laboratory methods, and these methods allow scientists to isolate specific segments of DNA, for instance, a particular gene or part of a gene, which can then further be studied, manipulated, or used. It is also possible to create DNA synthetically through processes similarly well known in the field of genetics. One such method with an mRNA molecule and uses the naturally bonding proteins of nucleotides to create a new one. Synthetic DNA molecule. The result is the inverse of the mRNA's inverse image of the original DNA, with one important distinction, because the natural creation of mRNA involves splicing that removes introns. The synthetic DNA created from the mRNA contains only the exon sequence. This synthetic DNA created in the laboratory from mRNA is known as cDNA. Changes in the genetic sequence are called mutations. Mutations can be as small as the alteration of a single nucleotide, a change affecting only one letter in the genetic code. There it goes. A change affecting only one letter in the genetic code, YHVH. Such small-scale changes can produce an entirely different amino acid or can end protein production altogether. I'm going to stop right there. That's where we're going to stop. That's a lot of reading for some people, but not for me, because this is a very interesting read. I'm going to stop right there. Now, I'm probably going to go to the last part, because you always got to go to the conclusion. Can we find the conclusion? If I can find it, we'll read it. If not, I'm going to press on. Because it's a syllabus. Now, reading what I just read to you, I do have to put this all together because I'm going to finish this up right now because we're almost done. Now, reading what I just read to you, and then we go back to this individual right here. Where is he at? Where's the dude at? This guy right here. So let's go back and listen to what this dude said. And let's see if what he said, in a sense, matches with what I just read to you. Let him talk one more time, and we'll wrap this up.
The entire human genome has been poisoned with a gene that has never been in the human genome ever in history. Reverse transcriptase doesn't only cause cancer. If something is reverse transcribed and alters the DNA of a sperm or an egg, that DNA change, if that sperm or egg survives and turns into a human being, lasts forever.
This is the magnitude of evil we are dealing with. We are dealing with people who have the money, the power to pollute the entire human genome. I think because of this, we're going to lose about 1 billion children. So any mother to be, even if she is not pregnant yet, if she gets an mRNA vaccine, those mRNAs are going to go to the ovaries. There's DNA that stays silent, that is never transcribed into proteins until the next generation. And it'll only show up when that adult tries to have another child. 5 billion people have been injected so far on this planet. Half of them are women. 2.5 billion. Half of them will be women who are young enough to have children. There are 1.25 billion carriers of mutations in the egg cell line of their bodies. 1.25 million women who are capable of giving birth to children who carry something that has never been seen before in the human species, in the entire human genome.
So, when he speaks after what I just read to you, they line up. They line up. Well, what I just read to you and what he speaks, they line up. And even as far as we go to this gentleman right here, Rudolf Steiner, and I read to you how he spoke on the prophecy, on the extent that they would take into understanding how they would try to destroy what they call madness of spiritual life from within the human genome. I think it all checks out. I think it all makes sense. I think it all checks out. So when we look at, you know, them putting Dr. Fauci on the stand, invoking the fifth, I think people should really pay attention and dive in deeper, like I do, like I did, like how I showed you. And you can go deeper than this. You can also go to my previous channels. So, I mean, my previous videos on my live stream, I did a deep dive on this topic already. You can find it, Rapture Part 2, and sit there and watch the video. And you'll see exactly, you know, what goes on. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. 2030, 2032, 2040, those years ain't too far away. And, you know, we'll call it conspiracy for now. And then later on, as we've seen, 5 years, 10 years go by, and we look back and realize all the conspiracy were facts. And you can't say that you didn't know. You were told. And at the end of the day, they want you in a state of fear, lust, and survival. This is where they want you at. Fear, lust, survival, and anger and rage, negative thinking. Because all we see is drama and negativity and hate and division. Lust, because women are here selling their bodies at an unprecedented rate with no consequences for their action. Poverty, which can, you know, tag on stress and all sorts of things. So the financial markets are, or the economy, the financial markets is at an all-time high, but the economy is doing bad. So that's why my message is always try to present to you. To circumvent all this, the best thing that you could do, stick with nature, get back to nature, take care of your body. Drink water, eat healthy as you possibly can, and then try to, you know, grow your own food. You know, keep it close with a close knit of people. Don't let nobody stick anything inside of your body. Just try to stay far away from injections as you possibly can, especially for your kids, because these doctors don't give two shits about your kids. Because even in this right here, he even said it right here. You probably can't see it because I can't zoom in on it, but it says, to materialistic doctors will be entrusted the task of removing the soul of humanity through medicine or vaccinations. Do you know they're trying to give children HPV vaccinations? They're trying to give children HPV vaccinations. For what? That's a sexually transmitted disease. Why are you giving a kid an STD shot? It's optional, so make sure you say no. That's why I always try to tell you, man, stick to nature. I read to you the Hopi prophecy. Everything is the same story, it's just a different timeline. Stick to nature. Read, pray, fast, and meditate. Read, pray, fast, and meditate. Take care of your temple. Do everything you can to stay out of poverty as the best you can, because that's one of the strongest weapons. and stay focused and always mind your business. And when I say mind your business, I mean mind the business that pays you. And don't fall for the golden carrot syndrome. Know your purpose, know your path, find it, stick with it, stick to it, and chip at it your entire existence on this earth. And in the process of you living your existence on this earth, pray, fast, and meditate, and stick to nature. If along the way you want to have a little bit of fun with a little chica here and there, don't get nobody pregnant unless you know, at this point, you know that you can go in, both of y'all get a blood test to the molecular level and see if both of y'all's DNA is still DNA, or has one of y'all or both of y'all DNA been tampered with and it's turned into cDNA or mRNA, whatever the hell they call it. That's how deep this is going to have to go at this point. So just be prepared to take care of yourself. And whoever you choose to try to have kids with in the future, you're going to have to do a deep dive into exactly who you're dealing with and if it's even feasible to bring children into this world with both of you having unvaccinated blood in your system. And for all my men out there who still got that unvaccinated semen, what I say earlier, hold your chest up, grab your hand and cuff your balls and be like, and be happy, because ain't too many people walking around with unvaccinated sperm in a ball sack. But with that being said, man, I got to get up out of here. Hopefully you learned something today and hopefully you enjoyed today's show. I will catch y'all tomorrow on the next one, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to another DLE Fitness live stream show. I will see y'all tomorrow. So take care of yourself. Be safe. Don't do nothing stupid. Just stay the course. Stay focused. And with that being said, I catch you tomorrow. Take care. Love you. Peace.
Talking the wrong, coming off your teeth. Got that one hit to quit and knock you off.